You mentioned Thailand about the nun. What I know, up to today, why Thai nun are not recognized, and they are considered not like a male auntie.
This stems why in the first place in Thailand it's not that the nuns are not recognized. In Thailand they only allow 8 precept nuns. They allow nuns to take 8 precepts only, not higher, not more than 8 precepts. This comes from the Buddha's days. When the first woman wanted to become a nun, it was actually the Buddha's foster mother, Gotami. And she asked the Buddha for ordination 3 times. The Buddha refused her. So her tears came down, also the Buddha refused her. And then after that, the Buddha went to another place. She got a few of her friends and who wanted to become nuns. They also followed the Buddha until the Buddha went to another monastery. Then they stood outside the monastery gates. And then Ananda saw her and recognized her. Ananda is a relative of the Buddha. So he asked the Buddha's foster mother, "Why are you standing there with tears in your eyes and dust all over your clothes?" Then she said she had asked the Buddha to become a nun and the Buddha refused to ordain her. So Ananda said, "Never mind, you wait. I will go and ask the Buddha." So he went to ask the Buddha. 3 times the Buddha refused. Then he thought, I must find another way. Then he told the Buddha, he said, "Bhagawa, this is not an ordinary woman. This is the woman who looked after you after your mother passed away. Took you as her own son, gave you milk, brought you up, just like her own son, Nanda. So you owe a lot to her." Then because of that, Buddha said, "Okay, if she will accept 8 conditions, then she can become a nun." Well, these 8 conditions, I've forgotten all of them, but one is like, even if a nun is ordained 100 years, when she meets a monk, even ordained for 1 day, she must pay respect to the monk. Another one, she cannot criticize a monk, cannot scold a monk. A monk can scold a nun. Another one, during the rainy season, she must stay in a place where there are monks. Another one, every 2 weeks, she must go to the monks and ask for a teaching and for the date of the Uposatha, the recital of the precepts. And then various other conditions. So Venerable Ananda told Venerable Gotami and she accepted those conditions. Then after that, the Buddha said she's considered a nun. Now, after the Venerable Ananda came back to tell the Buddha that she accepted, the Buddha told him, "Ananda, if today you had not asked for nuns to go forth, the Sasana, the Buddha's religion, would have lasted 1,000 years. The true Dhamma would have lasted 1,000 years. But now that women have gone forth, the true Dhamma will last 500 years. When the Buddha talks about the religion, he's talking about the true Dhamma, the suttas. The suttas, the Buddha said, will persevere for 500 years. And other suttas, the Buddha said, 500 years after the Buddha's passing away, false Dhamma will appear. This false Dhamma comes from later monks. They start writing all the new books. So, then the Buddha also explained why. The Buddha said, just like a house, robbers come to rob the house. If the house contained all men, they'll be able to fight the robbers. But if they had women in the house, they have to fight the robbers, they have to protect the women. So, they have become weakened. Similarly, the Buddha said, suppose there is a long caravan, a line of caravans going through the forest, and they are attacked by bandits. If in the caravan was all men, they can fight with the bandits and stand a chance of winning. But if they have to protect the women in the caravan, they have to fight and think of the women. It's harder to fight. What does that mean? Nowadays, you see in the newspaper, quite a number of women get raped in India. During the Buddha's time, also the same. So the Buddha made the nuns stay near the monks. And the monks have to look after the nuns, have to teach the nuns. So it's harder to practice. Every day, harder to practice. So that's why you find a lot of monks disrobe because of a woman, and some women disrobe because of a man. So that's the reason now. So because the Buddha objected to women going forth, that's why now in Thailand and Myanmar and Sri Lanka, the Sangharajas, they object. But even though like in Thailand, the nuns only take 8 precepts, Long Po Sumedo, when he was in UK, in his Amaravati, he allowed nuns to receive 10 precepts and wear the robe just like the monk. So, for example, if a lady wants to ordain in our monastery, as an abbot, I can give her 8 precepts or 10 precepts because we are outside of Thailand. But whether it's a monk or a nun, if a person wants to ordain, he has to stay at least 2 years before he gets the higher ordination. Any other question? Nearer.
I heard from a friend saying that it's
Nearer.
easier for lay people to get an argument than compared to devas.
It's easier for lay persons, that means humans, to get what? To get enlightenment compared to devas. Don't talk about enlightenment because enlightenment is very difficult. There are 4 types. There are 8 types of Arya. First path, first fruit, second path, second fruit, third path, third fruit, and fourth path, fourth fruit. But once you get the path in the same lifetime, it turns to fruit. So you can also consider there are 4 types of Arya. The first fruit, second fruit, third fruit, and fourth fruit. Sotapanna, Sakadagamin, Anagamin, and Arahant. Okay? For lay people, it's almost impossible to get the second fruit. Why? Because the second fruit, you need jhana, either the first or the second or the third jhana. And jhana is very difficult to get. But nowadays, there are some monks who teach that it's very easy to get jhana. But their jhana is not the Buddha's jhana. Nowadays, there's a lot of different teachers. Some, they say, you just sit down, watch your breath, you already attained first jhana. No such thing. So, third and fourth fruit, Anagamin and Arahant, you need 4 jhanas. 4 jhanas is a very high state. In fact, to attain any jhana is difficult. Why? Because in the description of the first jhana, the Buddha said, aloof from sensual desires, aloof from unwholesome states. A monk enters and abides in the first jhana. So before you can enter the first jhana, you got to give up sensual pleasures. You have to give up unwholesome states. So lay people generally can only attain the first Sotapanna stage. And Sotapanna, you don't need any jhana. in the something like 10,000 suttas in the 5 Nikayas, there's only one sutta that says that very clearly. That is Samyutta Nikaya 55.40. In that sutta, the Buddha said, a Sotapanna does not have jhana. So, and how to get this Sotapanna? Is by listening to the Dhamma. Listen to the Dhamma with focused attention. Listen to the suttas with focused attention. And you understand, then you have attained right view. Once you have attained right view, you have entered the stream. The stream in the suttas refers to the Aryan Eightfold Path. So entering the stream means entering the first factor of the Aryan Eightfold Path, which is right view. And in Majjhima Nikaya 43 says, to get right view, to attain stream entry, only two conditions. One is the voice of another. The second condition is Yoniso Manasikara. The voice of another means somebody teaching you the true Dhamma. If you listen to false Dhamma, later books, you can never get. If you meditate, also can never get. Must listen to the true Dhamma, the original suttas. And Yoniso Manasikara is focused attention. When you listen with focused attention, there's a sutta that says at that time the 5 hindrances are eliminated. Short term. If you don't have the 5 hindrances obstructing you, and you have the 7 bojjhanga at that time, then you can understand. So for lay persons, it's not difficult to get Sotapanna. And it's the same with devas. But for higher stages, devas, they won't get. Why? Because life is so good in the heavenly realm. Every day, enjoy. Where I want to practice? You practice only when you get slapped by dukkha. And dukkha slaps you, then you start asking, why? For example, when you get cancer, then you say, why me? You start asking, If you don't get dukkha, you don't see dukkha, you don't want to practice one. It's like a child playing. You ask the child to study. Don't want to study. Any other question? Put nearer your mouth.
It is said that if we offer dana to an arahant monk versus, say, a new monk, that one would achieve more merit offering dana to the arahant monk. Why? Why is it so?
Because if you give dana, you give an offering to a virtuous person, he benefits more people. So you are indirectly benefiting more people. If you give money to a drug addict, he's not going to benefit anybody, and he's not going to do good for himself by taking more drugs. So there is a sutta that says, if you make an offering to an animal, you should expect to get back 100 times what you gave to that animal. If you give to an immoral, ordinary worldling, a putujana, somebody who is going endlessly and the round of rebirths, and he's immoral, does not keep the sila, still you will get back 1,000 times what you gave him. Okay? Now you give to a virtuous, ordinary worldling, you expect to get back 100,000 times what you gave to that virtuous, ordinary worldling, putujana. 100,000 times. And if you give to an external sect recluse, free from lust for sensual pleasures, that means an external sect For example, yogi who has attained jhana, you can expect to get back the vipaka 100,000 times, 100,000 times, so much. And then if you give to a first path attainer, a stream person has attained stream entry, the vipaka, the result is immeasurable repayment for your gift, immeasurable. That is the first path attainer. But if you give to a 100 first path attainers, the blessing or the merit is even less than giving to one sotapanna, first fruit attainer. And then you give to 100 sotapanna, first fruit attainer, the blessing, the merit is even less than giving to 1 second path attainer. And then you give to 100 second path attainers, the blessing is less than giving to 1 second fruit attainer. Similarly, you give to 100 second fruit attainer, the merit is less than giving to 1 third path attainer. And giving to 100 third path attainer, the blessing is less than giving to 1 third fruit attainer. And giving to 100 third fruit attainer, the blessing, merit is less than giving to 1 fourth path attainer. And giving to 100 fourth path attainer, the blessing, the merit is less than giving to 1 arahant. So you see, the Buddha is very systematic and very detailed one. Last time I was studying Hinduism for 4 years, and some of the Hindu yogis may have been Pacheka Buddhas. Some of the things they say is very profound, but they cannot explain in detail, or they don't want to explain in detail. Pacheka Buddhas, they know as much as the Sama Sambuddha, but they refuse to teach. So, only when you come to the suttas, the words of a Sama Sambuddha, nobody can compare. Have you seen any other religion where the religion founder says that time has no beginning and time has no end? No other religion dare to say that. Only our Buddha dare to say that. Now after 2000 over years, science also says time has no beginning, time has no end. We usually think that time must have a beginning. So who created the beginning? So we create God now. Any other thing?
Okay, I want to ask you, how is the rebirth taking place now? Is it the Kandava is fertilized egg on the mother and father get together and fertilize the rebirth taking place?
You're talking about rebirth in the womb. In the womb.
Yeah, something like that.
Because there are 4 types of rebirth: egg-born, womb-born, water-born, and direct transformation. So, if you're asking about the womb-born, the Buddha said, for a being to be born in the womb, there must be 3 conditions. This is in the Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta 38. The Buddha said, what are these 3 conditions? First, mother and father must come together. Secondly, mother must be in the right season. There is the egg there, ready. And the egg is fertilized. Then there must be the being, in the suttas it's called the Gandhava, who is ready to be born into the womb. And this being will go into the womb, lodge itself inside the egg, and the egg will start to grow. Okay? But later books like the Abhidhamma, they don't believe that there is a being that enters the womb. They say consciousness enters the womb. But in the suttas, you cannot have consciousness by itself. You cannot. Because consciousness refers to 6 types of consciousness. The eye consciousness, the ear consciousness, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. So for you to have consciousness, you must have the eye, must have the ear, must have the nose, tongue, body and mind. Because consciousness comes from these 6 organs. Without the eye, you cannot have seeing consciousness. Okay? Say again. Gandhabba is a later books. Gandhabba is called the intermediate body. It's also 5 khandha. It is body, feelings, mind, perception, body, feeling, perception, volition and consciousness. No self doesn't mean no 5 aggregates. No self means there is no thing that is permanent, everlasting. That's all. So if there is no self, how come you have a body? Body and mind. Body and mind, not necessarily a flesh body. When you have passed away, you can be reborn in 5 realms. Okay? Heaven, human being, ghost, animal, and hell being. Okay? Of these 5, you see carefully, only 2 have got flesh body. Human being and animal. 3 of them don't have flesh body. So now you ask, how can they exist? They have a spirit body, not necessary that you must have a flesh body. A ghost has a body, only you can't see. But there are some people can see. Dogs can see a ghost. Can't hear you,
When we die, we think about karma, but is it instantly reborn or got a waiting period or something like that?
Okay. This rebirth, whether it's instantaneous or have to wait. Firstly, if you are going to be reborn in heaven, it is instantaneous. If you are going to be reborn in the womb, in the human birth, you have to wait. Just now I mentioned the 3 conditions. If you are going to be born as a ghost, instantaneous. If you are going to be reborn as an animal, you have to wait. Because you have to go into the womb. If you are going to be reborn in hell, it's instantaneous. In the suttas, in the Majjhima Nikaya, it is stated, if your karma is so bad that you are going to be reborn in hell, the moment you die, the hell beings will come up and drag you down to hell. Okay? Now, you ask yourself, what are they dragging? They don't want to drag your smelly corpse, So what are they dragging? They are dragging what comes out from your corpse. That is the soul. A lot of monks, they don't investigate properly. They say there's no soul. Who says there's no soul? The Buddha did not say there's no soul. The Buddha said there is no atta, there is no thing that is permanent, everlasting. The soul, the Buddhist soul is not permanent, is not everlasting. Only the Christian soul is permanent. The Muslim soul is permanent. Not the Buddhist soul. If you look into I also used to think that as in Buddhism we don't have a soul because we have the wrong concept that a soul means something that is permanent and everlasting. But if you look into the Oxford English Dictionary, it says that the soul is the spiritual part of man, often assumed to be everlasting. This only assumed to be everlasting. It's not necessary that it is everlasting. Only some religions assume that it is everlasting. So the soul is a spiritual part of man. It is not your body, We tend to think that the flesh body is the self. The flesh body is only a shell. You are residing in that shell. And that you are inside, that soul is changing according to your mind, according to your character. A lot of people are not familiar with the suttas. They don't know some of the important suttas, like the Buddha said. Among his various types of psychic powers, the Buddha has one type of psychic power where he can withdraw from the top of his head a mind-made body. This in Hinduism is called the astral body. Why do the Hindu yogis talk about astral body? Because they have psychic powers. They have psychic powers they can see. So, sometimes like certain monks, like Venerable Moggallana, after he became a disciple of the Buddha, he was striving for enlightenment. Every night he refused to sleep. But because he refused to sleep, he was overtired. In the middle of the night, sitting very straight also he falls asleep. So the Buddha knows. So the Buddha went to him in this mind-made body, came out and woke him up. Woke him up and then he got a shock. The Buddha said, this body that came out from his head is golden colored and look like his physical, like his flesh body. So he put on further effort. And then the second night, he struggled, the same thing, fell asleep, the Buddha went to him. Third night, the Buddha went to him. Fourth night, the Buddha went to him. He kept on struggling until 7 nights, he became enlightened. Without the Buddha coming to him every night, he would not have become enlightened so fast. So you see, in the suttas, there is evidence of this astral body. Also, I mentioned, the Buddha said that this spirit body that I mentioned, Gandhabba, goes into the womb. If this spirit body did not go into the womb, the egg will not grow. So it's like nowadays, we have chicken farms. A lot of chickens give eggs. Yeah, they lay eggs. The eggs will not develop into a chicken. Why? Because it's not fertilized. Only when it's fertilized, it will develop. So there's another sutta. And then another sutta, the third one, is that the Buddha talked about 4 types of beings that enter the womb. The Buddha said there's one type of being that enters the womb unknowing. Blur, enter the womb. Stay there also unknowing. Blur. Comes out also unknowing. The second type of being, he enters the womb knowing. Knows when he enters the womb. But he stays in the womb unknowing. Comes out also unknowing. The third type, he enters the womb knowing, stays there knowing, then comes out unknowing. The fourth type, the Buddha said, like himself, he went into the womb knowing, stayed there knowing, came out also knowing. The mind is so clear, so strong, that is conscious all the time.